always a pleasure to be speaking along with such eminent people like we have. I do not want to repeat what each one of them has told you. I think they are very, very wise words, and if you had paid attention, I think you would have learned a lot. There are a lot of common things, and there are a lot of differences. I think both the similarities and differences are very important to note. I want to just present one central idea to this whole thing so that you may be able to integrate everything together and also apply that idea to the IT industry, where I have spent a lot of my life. So the one central idea that I want to give you all is, we are all professionals, degree holders, right? Of management or engineering or whatever we are doing. Why are we required in the economy? We don't actually go to the shop floor and do anything, right? And some of us could be selling, some of us could be, writing code and so on. But most of us are not really turning the wheels of the economy. And why are we required? Why can't the world go on without any one of us being in the industry? I think if you step back and ask, the only reason we are there is because things don't happen as planned. So the workman may work, may know all the rules of work, may know how to do their job, but stuff happens, right? And then there is uncertainty and there is dependency and things run into trouble. And similarly, if you are in software, the coder knows how to code. And if you're a manager of those coders, and it is that while everything may be planned, something may happen. There is some uncertainty and there is something that changes. And therefore, you come here and actually go and correct it. If you are a professional, like for example, if you are a copy editor or a copywriter, then you are actually doing a job, you're solving a problem. So there are two kinds of jobs, right? One big kind of job that you do is you reduce uncertainty, which is the managerial job. And if there was no uncertainty in the world, things were to happen just as they were planned, you are not required. We are all overheads in the system. In the books of accounts, all of us would be called as overheads. We are not contributing directly to the production or sale of the company. So that is the way to look at it. Therefore, if you have to be invited to the industry, you have to be able to embrace uncertainty. I think that is a single big idea that I want you to take away. And if you are a professional doing a particular job, then also you have to embrace uncertainty. The uncertainty of, like Dr. Samir said, what exactly is the business of the client? What is the context in which this is happening? What is the assumption that I had that I have to relook at because I have new facts on the table? So if you are in automotive, what is the new dynamics that are happening in the world? Like some of us were saying, right? For example, that because of the need for spending on safety and wellness, people are buying their own vehicles. Now, what does that mean for my industry, my company, and so on and so forth? So there is a lot of interpretation of what is happening around, which is not very certain that we will have to constantly make all the time. So I think the one single thought I will ask you all to really take away and apply is you should love uncertainty and you should be able to operate in uncertainty. And that is what I keep asking in interviews. So what is the adversity that you have faced in your life? And like Mr. Hussain talked about, right? Saying that what is the thing that you challenge that you overcome? It need not be in work. It can be in your private life. What is the challenge you overcome or you faced? What did you do about it? So how did you deal with uncertainty in your life is the one thing that we keep asking. And as I speak, I'll take a minute to narrate an interview that I did of a very impressive candidate. And this was a person whom we went to campus, and then the person could not participate because his father had suffered a massive heart attack, and therefore he had to rush home and could not meet the placement process. So we had finished all our placements. His father recovered, and thankfully he came back to college and said that, sir, can you make a request to the companies that came? So that placement officer called and said, can you please look at him? I know that you have done your job, everything is done. Can you meet him? So this person turned up, at our office. And then I asked this individual this question. So we had many questions, the technical questions he answered. Then we asked, can you tell me an adversity that you faced and how did you really react to it or overcome it? And he talked about December 31, one of those years, several years ago in Delhi, where the policeman caught him, near Sarita Vihar, because he was suspecting that people are drunk for the new year and he was drinking and driving. And it turned out that he was not drinking and driving, but he had missed his, like he didn't have his license on his hand. It was many years ago, not the today's era of digital wallets and all. So the policeman took him, and for several hours they were trying to find out, what is it that They were not calling him in. So he called and said, sir, I need to go back home. It's New Year. You know that I have not drunk. And this license, I'll pay the fine and please let me go. And this person said, even we have to go for the New Year. Our families are also there. But see, this is not tallying. So they were counting something for hours together. And they were trying to find out that, the money they collected due to different challans and all and what they had filed, they were not tallying. There was excess money. It was not shortage, but excess money. So then he came and he said, sir, have you thought of automating this? So the policeman said, what do you mean by that? So at that time in India, there was a machine called Simputer. It was a simple computer that was made in India, very small priced device. So he said, may I experiment? So right about 12:30, he left for the house early in the morning. That is the New Year. Then he went about to work, took a Simputer, wrote a small application, gave it to different people in the Sarita Vihar police station in our own Delhi. And then he made sure that this thing didn't happen and they were quickly able to collect. And it so happened that the inspector was transferred to another police station. So he followed that inspector and told him, I'll do it in this place also. And after 2 successful instances, he was taken to the Delhi Commissioner of Police, where he presented the same idea. And he said, sir, this is how I dealt with one of the adversities I faced in life. After that, the entire interview, I was trying to ask myself, why should I reject him? And I offered that person. And it turned out that attitude this person had was very, very evident throughout his life. Whichever boss you gave that person to, and we did many stints, every boss would love and say, this is the person I want. Whatever it is, this person can embrace uncertainty, make something out of it. He did some of the best things in the world. Today he is group CIO. He's a person that I recruited, probably about 15, 16 years experience. He has written 3 books. He is group CIO of a very large, Arab industrial conglomerate. And he went and told the person that, look, I will save you so many $1 million in your IT, but will not take away any functionality. So I'll do that for you. So like that, the person was focused on trying to find uncertainty, trying to reduce it, trying to find the opportunity in uncertainty, and trying to really apply it and move forward. So that is a single big idea that I want you to embrace, saying, are you ready to embrace uncertainty? And this is what we ask in IT also. And even in IT, we try to find out, because the technology that you work on has changed dramatically. And in my 22 years, I think I would have seen about 8-9 paradigms coming and going. So 8-9 paradigms is about hardly 2.5 years, and something else comes on. And the people that are managing, the people that are working on, have actually have not hands-on worked on 2 or 3 or 4 paradigms. So that is the nature of the industry. It changes so fast that people who are ready to embrace that uncertainty and therefore are learnable. I think all the panelists talked about learnability. The ability to take a piece of knowledge and systematically apply it in a real world context. I think that's what industries are looking for. That's what recruiters are looking for. And I would say that is what IT is looking for as well. And the basic aptitude to analyze is why we give analytical ability test, right? The basic ability to communicate is why we give you a communication test. And the basic ability to problem solve is why you give something. We want to know whether you have taken what you have learned seriously. Therefore, we want you to know whether if you are a mechanical engineer, do you know mechanical engineering very well? If you are an automotive engineer, do you know automotive engineering very well? If you are a manager, can you explain things in simple terms for a real life problem? That is what we ask, that is basics. But after that, what we look for is, are you able to love uncertainty, embrace uncertainty, see opportunity in uncertainty, and act to maximize the opportunity? That is a single idea that I want to place in front of all of you for you to consider. And it will be a pleasure to listen to Mr. Munjal and Mr. Navneet over here. Thank you so much for coming here, sir.